Now, it's only the second primary in the race for the Republican nomination for US president, but Donald Trump is hoping to deliver a knockout blow to his single standing rival, Nikki Haley, in New Hampshire. Voting is taking place right now, with recent polling suggesting that Mr. Trump still holds a substantial lead over Nikki Haley after crushing his opponents in Iowa. Ms. Haley has vowed to stay in the race, whatever the result. Let's cross now to our North America editor, Sarah Smith, who's in New Hampshire for us now. Sarah.
Yeah, and here in New Hampshire, both the candidates have been dashing around doing some last-minute campaigning because they know the result here could be absolutely crucial. Donald Trump is clearly very confident. He dropped by a polling station earlier and said he wasn't going to ask Nikki Haley to pull out. He didn't need to because he thinks he can beat her easily anyway. And he's got some of his former rivals in the state campaigning for him. Now, Nikki Haley, she says that this shouldn't just be a coronation of Donald Trump. The voters across America ought to be given a choice. And her campaign are talking up her chances here, saying the turnout looks really good for them. But remember, now that this has come down to a two-person race, that means all the anti-Trump voters can all club together and back Nikki Haley. But even then, it still looks like she's really going to struggle to beat Donald Trump.
Cutting straight to the chase. It's now down to two candidates splitting the vote in New Hampshire, a state where axe throwing is a popular pastime. And independent voters pride themselves on following their own path.
Our slogan is live free or die, and a lot of people out here take that to heart. And you can kind of see it in, in voting.
Think of it like there's a piece of wood in front of you and you want to chop into it.
Sharing tips on how to hit the target, Zach tells me America needs a new trajectory. He has voted for Donald Trump before.
Nice shot.
Now he's leaning towards Nikki Haley.
If you ask around, a lot of people are not happy with how the country's been going the last 8 years over the last two presidents. So maybe it is time to look at another option.
I'll just say it.
That's her pitch. She is that other option.
We have to leave behind the chaos and drama of the past with a new generation.
Donald Trump is already anticipating that old generation rematch with Joe Biden, completely confident he will be the Republican candidate.
When you step into that voting booth, you're going to be signaling that we want crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. We got to get him out.
Donald, I love you!
Devoted Donald Trump fans will happily wait hours for him in sub-zero temperatures. The more he's demonized by his opponents, the more they worship him.
He's not racist. He's not sexist. No, not at all. And I don't care what the media says about Donald Trump. This is my third time voting for him, and I'd vote for him again.
I love that he's not a typical politician. He's a businessman, and that's what this country needs. It needs to be run as a business.
Donald Trump will need more than just his adoring fans to beat Joe Biden in November. And across America, there are plenty of moderate voters who admit, even though they don't like him, they may be prepared to vote for him because they felt so much better off when he was president.
This creates a cold and hostile climate for President Biden as he gets the blame for rising prices.
Start with how much everything is costing. Gas prices were so low. I get that they're going down now, but what about all the stuff that we have to pay for and the gas prices before and everything we've gone through? And yeah, it's a lot.
Some of the more outrageous things Donald Trump says, does none of that put you off supporting him?
That doesn't do anything to me. Not at all. I want prosperity. I'm getting ready closer to retirement. I want to be okay with that.
Do all the criminal charges against Donald Trump worry you?
No, not at all. He's kind of gotten a raw deal out of it, and there's so many other things that are going on that other people are doing, and they're just focusing on him, and I don't think that's right.
Carving out a significant victory here may be enough for Donald Trump to glide out of New Hampshire, having claimed his party's nomination before any other state needs to vote.
Sarah, is this now a done deal for Donald Trump?
Well, after tonight, it very well could be. If he wins by a really substantial victory here, it's hard to see how Nikki Haley could beat him anywhere else. And that would be because there are so many voters, like those I've met here in New Hampshire, who say they wish Mr. Trump wouldn't use such provocative language. They think he shouldn't be on social media, but they will vote for him, even if they have to hold their noses while they do so, because they think the economy was more successful when he was president, and they certainly felt like they had more money in their pockets then. New Hampshire, though, should be one of the more favourable states for Nikki Haley because there are moderate Republicans here and independent voters who ought to back her. So if she doesn't do well in this state, that could be close to the end for her campaign. The next state to vote is South Carolina, her home state where she used to be the governor. Yet she's polling really quite poorly there, substantially behind Donald Trump. So she might want to exit this race before a humiliating defeat in her own state. And if she did, well, that would hand the crown straight to Donald Trump, who is, of course, already behaving as though he is the official Republican nominee.
Sarah, thank you very much.